This comes from Washington Examiner. The White House announced a plan to use incoming revenue from President Donald Trump's tariffs to keep the special supplemental nutrition program for women, infants, and children operational during the government shutdown. So the Trump administration is looking to fund WIC with the tariff money. I thought this was a fantastic idea because it's getting really low. Like, they were talking about it completely running out of money, like within a week. It was supposed to be running out like any day now. So the White House announced a plan to use incoming revenue. Okay, so basically I already went over that in the post. Can I get rid of this? Oh, you're not going to let me. Oh, yeah. There it is. See, they make it hard. They make it difficult. The White House press secretary, Caroline Leavitt, confirmed the creative solution on Tuesday afternoon in a post to X in response to an Axios report on the plan. Quote, the Democrats are so cruel in their continual votes to shut down the government that they forced the WIC program for the most vulnerable women and children to run out this week. I bet the majority of them who vote, they probably vote Democrat, don't they? Leavitt said in a statement, thankfully, President Trump and the White House have identified a creative solution to transfer resources from Section 232 tariff revenue to this critical program. The Trump White House will not allow impoverished mothers and their babies to go hungry because of the Democrats' political games. White House officials warned even before last Tuesday, the first day of the government shutdown, that shuttering the government would negatively affect several social welfare programs favored by Democrats, WIC specifically. Leavitt warned reporters at Monday's White House press briefing that the program will run out of federal money very soon and that it can be easily funded if the Democrats simply vote to reopen the government. Tuesday's announcement comes just days after Trump floated using tariff revenue to construct a bailout for farmers struggling amid the trade wars. I'm going to do some farm stuff this week, Trump said Monday. His top aide suggested last week that the bailout, again pulling from Section 232 tariff revenue, would total some $50 billion. White House officials did not answer questions on Tuesday about the size of the WIC package or if the announcement would delay Trump's promised aid to American farmers. No, probably not. I mean, I don't think that WIC is going to go into the billions of dollars, but maybe it will. I know there's a lot who are on WIC. All right, DOT rapid response. This is absolutely crazy. If this lady wasn't killed from this happening to her, this is just unreal, man. I saw
Right
this
in the kisser.
was like,
Show
holy
that night
shit.
who's boss.
Oh my god, dude. Absolutely fucking nuts. Let's see that again.
Right in the kisser. Show that night who's boss.
Like, dude, how would that not fucking kill her? Wow, man. All right. I've already seen that enough. Just absolutely crazy. But yeah, the the meme seems to hold up pretty well. Anyway, GOP benefits for American citizens, Medicaid for illegals. You know, that classic meme, Democrats just veering off, barely missing their turn. So rapid response 47, millions of people who rely on food stamps and family aid through programs like SNAP and WIC could be at risk of losing assistance due to the government shutdown. Democrats needlessly caused this shutdown, and they can end it today.
Americans are beginning to feel the impact. Millions of people who rely on food stamps and family aid through programs like SNAP and WIC could be at risk of losing assistance.
Again, overwhelmingly Democrat voters, I imagine.
Programs are relying on reserve funds they hope will last until Congress passes a new spending plan.
This is baby Zave. He's now 1.5 and thriving, but his mom, Ashley Vasquez, says that wasn't always the case.
He just didn't have appetite and he wasn't putting on weight.
Zave was put on special nutritional drinks that his family received through WIC, the federal funded program for women, infants, and children. It provides aid to more than 6 million low-income families to help cover expenses for food, breastfeeding support, and health education.
This is why it's important to try like hell to breastfeed your children.
Shutdown continues.
That is by far the best way to go about it.
Whose sole source of nutrition may be infant formula, the loss of WIC would be absolutely devastating because their families don't have other options.
Nell Manifi-Libby with the
Democrats
National
don't
WIC
give a shit now, do they?
Association says if the government doesn't pass a spending bill within the next 2 weeks, funding will likely run out.
That really puts us in a crisis point very quickly.
Funding for other assistance programs like the Supplement Nutrition Assistance Program known as SNAP could also be at risk. Roughly 42 million people depend on SNAP to help cover groceries. October's benefits were already sent out, but come November 1st, it's unclear whether people will receive assistance.
Well, I know it's not related to the shutdown, but I know that they've rolled out changes to the SNAP benefits that you can only you can only be on food stamps, I think, for 2 years. And under certain circumstances, you have to have a part-time job in order to qualify, which I think is a fantastic idea. Because a lot of them, they've been on food assistance for, in some cases, decades. And they haven't had a job the entire time. They're just getting government benefits and doing absolutely nothing. All right, Senate Democrats. The American people understand that Trump and Republicans are causing this shutdown. They need to negotiate with Democrats to fix this healthcare crisis and reopen the government. Here's Bernie Sanders.
Well, it is clear.
Oh, really quiet.
That this shutdown has got to end as soon as possible. All over this country, the American people are saying, you know what? We can't afford health care now. And you, Mr.
No thanks
Trump,
to Obamacare.
Want to double health care premiums for over 20 million people.
No, they don't. No, they don't. They just want to end the ACA tax credits, which they rolled out during COVID, and they're expiring at the end of November because COVID is over, Democrats.
You want to throw 15
They're playing
million
political
people
games.
off the health care that they have. You're going to destroy
Their fault it's so
a
expensive
broken
in the
healthcare
first place.
system.
Fucking
We may not be able
Obamacare.
to recover from that. And I wish that the Speaker of the House, Mr. Johnson, had not given his members a vacation, taken them out of Washington. In the middle of this crisis, they're not here. That's pretty pathetic. Every poll that I have seen
that sounds like fake
American
news.
people understand that the Republicans are causing this shutdown. They control the White House. They control the Senate. They control the House. They need 60 votes in the Senate.
Yeah,
and when you need 60
they
votes,
do.
you have to negotiate. Up until now, they have not negotiated at all. Their way or the
Because there's nothing to negotiate. They said they have nothing to offer. It's a simple spending plan that they want to pass. But Rand Paul, he's not voting on the CR bill because he says that it's going to add another $2 trillion to the debt. So when I heard him say that, I was like, oh, okay, well, I mean, that's a pretty damn good reason. I'm about as anti-national debt as you can possibly get. So when he said that, and if what he's saying is correct, that the CR bill adds $2 more trillion to the national debt, then yeah, I mean, I'm not in favor of passing it either. Actually, I think that should be. How about Republicans negotiate that with Democrats? Like, look, okay, this is what we're bringing to the table. We're going to remove this provision of the CR bill, which adds $2 trillion to the deficit, which I'm sure would have to mean the cutting of a lot more of the government, which obviously the Democrats aren't going to go for. But hey, at least they're negotiating with something. Yeah, let's take more away from the government. Anyway, from the White House, the Democrat shutdown driven by political games has placed countless Americans in great risk. Let's be clear, we wouldn't be in this position if Democrats weren't holding the government hostage with their radical left wish list of demands.
Is it the White House's position that furloughed workers should be paid for their back pay?
I would say it depends on who we're talking about. I can tell you this, the Democrats have put a lot of people in great risk and jeopardy, but it really depends on who you're talking about. But for the most part, we're going to take care of our people. There are some people that really don't deserve to be taken care of, and we'll take care of them in a different way. Okay? Thank you.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure of that. A lot of people aren't deserving of so many benefits that they receive. So Secretary Sean Duffy, Democrats this week, healthcare for illegals, Democrats, air traffic controllers, you know, that typical meme with the sombrero this time. And Newsmax, President Donald Trump talked tough with the media and the party he rebukes as the shutdown Democrats Tuesday, saying some furloughed federal workers don't deserve to be taken care of and will take care of them in a different way. This comes from Newsmax. And let's see, Trump holding bilateral meeting with, I'm not sure if that's related. I may circle back to this, but let's take a look at this first. President Trump talked tough with the media, so we already went over that. The remark can be seen as a threat to massively reduce the federal workforce through outright firings to cut waste, fraud, and abuse over what Trump has called Democrat-forced government bloat. It depends on who we're talking about, Trump said in the Oval Office on Tuesday when asked about the administration's talk of denying back pay for furloughed workers. The Democrats have put a lot of people in great risk and jeopardy, but for the most part, we're going to take care of our people, he said. There are some people that really don't deserve to be taken care of. Okay, well, we literally just heard him say that. A new White House memo signaled a potential reversal of a long-standing policy guaranteeing compensation for hundreds of thousands of workers affected by the shutdown. Pressed on the legal requirement to provide back pay, Trump insisted, I follow the law, and what the law says is correct. He did not clarify what he meant by handling certain workers in a different way, but Trump vowed Americans will find out in 4 to 5 days if the Democrats' government shutdown continues. So the remarks came as the Office of Management and Budget circulated a memo suggesting that back pay is not automatic and would require a new congressional appropriation, despite a 2019 law Trump signed after the longest shutdown in U.S. history, which states that federal employees shall be paid once funding is restored. The memo argued the statute authorizes payment but does not itself appropriate funds, leaving Congress to decide whether to include retroactive pay in any funding bill. The move marks a sharp departure from decades of practice in which furloughed workers, including essential personnel who continue working without pay, are reimbursed once the government reopens. Republicans defended the tactic as a way to increase pressure on Democrats to compromise. Quote, that should turn up the urgency and necessity of the Democrats doing the right thing here, House Speaker Mike Johnson said in his remarks to the media. With the shutdown now in its seventh day, both Congress and the White House remain locked in a standoff with no agreement in sight and hundreds of thousands of federal employees potentially at risk of losing their jobs. And it goes on. There's a back and forth. They go in with quotes. So I'll link that, newsmax.com, below in the description. And next one from Dale W. Strong. Today marks a full week since the Senate Democrats shut down our government. House GOP has done our job and passed a clean CR to keep things running. Democrats are holding our government hostage and Americans are being impacted. It is time to get back to work. And the House Budget GOP, take a look at their image. They changed it to, this is a Democrat shutdown. All right. In Florida, the shutdown forced by Senate Democrats has cost the state an estimated $911 million in just the first week. Nearly 3 million SNAP enrollees will see their benefits impacted. Keeping the government shut down helps no one. Reopen the government now. And this is the state that I live in. They actually have a bunch of other states that I believe they posted on their profile. I came across quite a few from Texas. I think Virginia might have been another one. Okay, so there's Colorado, South Carolina, Pennsylvania. So if you're curious, there's Indiana. So they've got other states on here. If you happen to live in one of these states, you can check out House Budget GOP's profile and see if they've got some information on the state that you live in, if you're so curious. So the effects, the state GDP declines by $900 million each week, which is $4 billion a month, plus 155,000 federal workers furloughed or working without pay. 2.9 million SNAP enrollees, including 1.1 million children, are impacted by program disruptions after 30 days. Consumer spending declines by $1.7 billion each month. That's from the House Budget Committee. And we've got this one from Rep. Vern Buchanan. Each week the government remains closed. Florida loses an estimated $900 million in economic output. More than 150,000 federal workers in Florida going without pay. The House passed a clean CR to keep the government open. Now Democrats must join us to reopen the government. So that's just basically the same information. They just break it down into some more detail, which I'll repost, and we'll move on to the next topic. Senate Republicans watch Senator Sanders, says the quiet part out loud as he admits that without shutting the government down, Democrats have no leverage. Democrats are using Americans' livelihoods as leverage to get taxpayer-funded health care for illegal aliens, and this is on CNN. 14
They have had
seconds.
months to negotiate. And you reopen the government, and we lose our leverage, and they say, well, we want this, we want that. No, there has to be an agreement right now. That's what this whole shutdown is about.
Yeah, so it's like the only leverage they have right now. And that's why they're keeping the government shut down for as long as they possibly can, because they really have no other leverage. And that is why they're standing on this health care for illegal immigrants, because they know with Republicans it's a non-starter. So they want to keep the government shut down as long as possible so they could just put it all on Republicans. It's simply because the Republicans control the House and the Senate, and they've got Trump in the Oval Office. And that's what they're going to just run with during the re-election campaign. Because look, the midterms are coming up next year. There is a lot of damage that's been done to the Democrat Party, needless to say, over the past few months, frankly, over the past couple of years, including the fact that Trump won all 7 swing states and the popular majority. So they see their party slipping. So what they're going to try to do, in my opinion, they're going to keep the government shut down for at least a couple months, maybe a few months, if not even longer. It could even persist into next year. I don't anticipate it. I mean, look, the all-time record was 35 days the government was shut down. The all-time record in America's history. And that was in 2018, of course, because of Trump. And by that, I mean because Orange Man bad, evil dictator. So we're just going to blame him for it. I think they're going to do that because they're just going to use that for their campaign messaging next year, saying that, oh my God, the Republicans, they shut down our government for 6 months. And look at all the havoc that they've wreaked. And then they're going to run the numbers. How much GDP was lost in the state of Florida, for instance? How much GDP was lost in this state? And they're going to run all of that political messaging to try to convince the voters that it was all the Republicans' fault for the government being closed for months on end. That's my opinion, because what else are they going to run on next year? There's nothing else they can really run on next year, at least nothing that's going to help them in any way. Which, of course, anybody who pays attention for 5 minutes, they know that it's not the Republicans who shut down the government. It is the Democrats, because the Republicans passed the spending bill. Democrats did not pass the spending bill, which means the Democrats shut down the government.